Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Strife's Sanctum podcast. My name is Citizen Strife, and this week I'm dialing it back a little bit to something a little easy, something a little nice, something a little goofy, and all around just pleasant. This is a show that I've watched, I would say, 3 times, and I can always go back and rewatch it. Someday there's going to be an episode about shows or games that I can always kind of like watch and rewatch and do like just keep going with and never get bored. And this is one of them. It's Konohana Kitan. And one of the reasons it works is because it's a show about nothing, but the tone and vibe of it is one of those just nice comedies that if you're in the mood for something lighthearted, simple, it's got some cliches in it, but it works well because the characters are nice and usually do just enough, because sometimes, and I wouldn't even call this junk food, like it's trying to do something different, but it's not trying to like overwhelm you with something amazing, because sometimes like as great as those kinds of shows are, that's not always going to be the case. And sometimes you want something that has some heart to it, but doesn't overstay its welcome either. And I think that's the benefit when we're in this like newer, I would say new, I would say the last 5 or 10 years, we've been trying to do the 10, 11, up to 13 episodes thing, mostly 12. A 12 episode show, if it gets another season, it gets another season. Sometimes we have stuff like Freerun and Apothecary, which have done the 26. But then again, there are some shows that do the 12, get in and get out, and do just enough to, to get you what you want. And I think this is one of those that's like that. It's kind of in the same way like Senko-san. I don't think I would have liked Senko-san if it was 26. Same idea. Funny enough, I'm talking about another show of Fox's. Because, again, I would say Senko-san is better, but this one is also just fun. Because it has some things about it that work in its favor if you're in the mindset for that sort of thing. But what is it? What is Konohana Kitan? Well, it's a show about fox girls running an inn. And their guests are people in a kind of like, I wouldn't say otherworldly state. It's just kind of this weird alternate reality sort of thing. Because you have the human world, present day human world, Japan basically. And then you have this kind of like conduit place, which exists where demons, humans, gods, monster people kind of coexist. I don't think they name the area they all live in, but it's kind of just this mountainous area where people live in, kind of rural-esque, that's cut off from both godhood and elsewhere. So it's a kind of meeting place. And in the middle is a well-known, well-to-do, well-staffed resort called Konohanatei. And the idea is people come, gods, humans, other people come and just enjoy their day. More often than not, it's anthropomorphic humans, other people, different features, mostly fox people, stuff of that nature. But you'll get some guests, and that's cool because it ventures into the realm of yokai and Japanese mythology just enough that you get enough of the coolness factor of it. So if you're into that sort of aesthetic, you're going to love this kind of thing, because the Konohanatei is like the old school, temple-looking place, the rustic, old century Japanese vibe. Like, if you want that aesthetic, the kimonos, yukatas, all that stuff, you're into this. And there's like no pressure to do anything else. because it's just a bunch of like 5 or 6 people doing dumb things for like 12 episodes, and it's great. The main character is Yuzu, voiced by Lindsay Sadel, and Yuzu's whole thing is she was found by a nun and raised, but at some point needed to learn for herself. And she's one of those like earnest people that tries so hard to do her job, but is like the clumsy idiot. You know, the heart of gold, clumsy idiot sort of thing. But you also understand that she is like the heart of the group too. So it's like she's the balance point of the entire show, which is good because sometimes those characters can be overdone and cliche. Like their clumsiness is so bad, it turns them into I'm just the clumsy one. No, this is just enough clumsiness and uncertainty, but an earnest attempt at like, I'm just trying to find my way in the world as a person and be well liked by my coworkers because I'm in a new situation and I don't know what I'm doing. So she's one of the younger ones trying, you know, I would say 14, 15, you know, of a place that's like 18, 19, 20, you know, that sort of thing. Old enough to try and make your way in the world in this kind of strange environment. What are the rules? Who are the people? Who does she work with? And she works with somebody known as Satsuki, voiced by Dawn Bennett, who was Aegis in the Persona 3 remake and Aprilis in Ys. You know, you'll notice that if I mention someone multiple times, I tend not to like go through the spiel of what they've been in and stuff like that. So, because if you've seen my shows, you'll know who these people are at some point. But by and large, Satsuki's thing is she is the superior. And she's not there to be anybody's friend. And she's there mostly by accident because they go into enough backstory for the characters that you know who they are, but it's like it informs you, but it's not like meant for drama in the same way that a drama show would be like super intense and whatever. But Satsuki's thing is she is like the best worker of the bunch. And she's doing that because she was kind of forced into this situation because her sister was going to be the one working at Konohanatei, but she had an affinity for godhood and priesthood and, you know, dancing to, I would say they call it appeasing the gods. So dancing in this like world helps appease the gods because you give offerings, you show blessings, you do all that stuff, you know, so you perform dances or you perform rituals or you're a shrine maiden sort of thing. Satsuki wants to do that. She was passed over because it's a sister complex kind of thing. Her inferiority complex is saying, my sister's great at everything, why am I not? Whatever. So there's this kind of like begrudging annoyance to being working there. So she has this just urge to be better at everything than everybody else. Enough that it's annoying, but it works as a balance for the rest of the group because, let's face it, you're not going to survive being that sort of character if you're such an asshole all the time. It's more of the tsundere kind of vibe, but enough, like not in the I love other people. It's the, okay, I get it, you know. I'm not as angry as I thought, and I actually do kind of like this. It's fine, you know, breaking the walls down, and that's what Yuzu's job is, kind of, because Yuzu and Satsuki are usually partners, and you slowly break down, and then you see, you know, there are a couple episodes where Satsuki's sister and her apprentice show up, and you know they do their thing, and again, you get to see that like cool, you know, old school Japanese / Chinese aesthetic and play and, you know, appeasing the gods and the shrine stuff, the Shintoism. Because again, they're not really forcing that religious iconography. And it's enough of that, I'd say. But yeah, the Shintoism, the Buddhism, you know, that stuff is very present in there. But it's not so overwhelming. But Satsuki does it well because you're just, okay, I get this character, I know what she's about, and it helps because she has a role, and everybody else has a role. Like Natsume and Ren, voiced by Emily Fajardo and Kate Oxley. So they're also teamed together. Natsume is this like tomboyish, like super strong, just super. I'm a gung ho about everything, but I'm also a bit of stupid. I don't really care. Counteracted by Ren being the cutest girl in school. Basically, she just loves being cute and pretty dresses, making everything look nice, making sure everything's looking sharp. So she's just this super, make everything on time, much like Sasuke would be, but even more, but unsure of herself. The difference is Sasuke's very about everything. Ren is just, why are you stupid? Because there is a difference. So they're not stepping on. That's the benefit of these four main characters, is you're not stepping on any other character. So you're just like, okay, Ren and Natsume are like sort of lovers, but not really. So it's kind of like it's an interesting relationship that they build here and there in the episodes. But then you see Natsume doing some stuff with other people, and then Ren gets kind of jealous, and it's really dumb. But then you're like, Natsume's always trying to help Ren, and it's like, oh, it's good and it's fun. You have another character known as Sakura, voiced by Jad Saxton. She was Nona in Death Parade and whatnot. She doesn't really get a lot of speaking stuff in this, and Sakura is just kind of there as the goofball. Much like Okiko or Okiku, voiced by Sarah Weidenheft. Sakura's the youngest of the foxes and usually doesn't do work. She's more of an apprentice and will be used as a foil for the comedy. Okiku is an interesting case because she's a doll who was neglected. It's kind of the Toy Story 2 thing, like Jessie, where neglected by society, but then taken to Konohanatei and trying to figure out, well, I'm a very small, very precious doll with a potty mouth, basically, but still trying to figure out how do I work here? What am I doing here? This place full of fox people and gods and shit, and I'm a doll. What am I gonna do? And then like she rides this like little, I want to say they call it a Baku, but I'm not sure. I think it's a Baku because it's a dream eating thing. Like anybody who has bad dreams, this little pig thing just comes by and like sucks their bad dreams and they feel better. It's weird. But he ends up being basically this doll's horse or transportation because she can't move very much. But again, you get some good comedy. I think it's all balanced out by the main head of the place, Kiri, who's Morgan Garrett, who was, oh god, I forget her name off the top of my head. Saki from Interviews with Monster Girls. The succubus. I don't remember her name, but I remember she was a succubus teacher. There you go. But yeah, Kiri's whole thing is she's just kind of, I work hard, but I'm, people are going to be a dick about things. I'm going to make them work, but it's just like, life is what it is. It's fun. Life of the party. We're here to make guests feel welcome. And I think that's the benefit of this whole entire thing is you have these characters doing their little things, and they have these little thoughts in and of themselves, and they're doing their things. You're doing the hot spring scenes, you're talking to guests, you're talking about their problems, they're talking about the guests' problems, and then trying to figure out, we're on vacation. Well, how do we take a break? Do we go see the fireworks festivals? Do we have fun? Do we talk about other stuff? Because you get those episodes that are either character-centric or guest-centric. And the main characters get just enough of themselves that you're like, okay, I get what they're going for, and I'm not overwhelmed. But then you get some other episodes that are there just to be fun, to be like, okay, this is a god, or this is a thing, that a person is doing a thing. Like, Sakura's main guest is this swordsman guy who has been creating weapons for war, so he's just like, well, I don't have anything better to do, but I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be a god of weaponry, but I'm also on my day off. Or this medicine guy who gets hurt because Yuzu's being dumb, but is like, it's fine. Life is fine. As long as everybody's fine, I can make do. But don't eat this medicine because it'll make you tiny. Or this one will make you big. You know, stupid, goofy shit. You know, nothing here is gonna, you know, come as a shock to anybody. But at the same time, it's gonna be like, okay, I want something like this. So it veers into the vibe of anime junk food. I've used that term a few times. This definitely feels like anime junk food, but it comes from an earnest place of, okay, it can be cliche at times, but I'm also enjoying it enough that it lifts itself to its own thing. I think it would have been a waste of space to do more than it was, because I don't think there's as much meat on the bones. It's kind of like Mushishi, where you watch it and you love it, but you also know that maybe this isn't, you know, maybe it's too slow, or maybe it's too boring, or maybe it just, you know, I get enough of this that I'm happy. Because if you get too much of it or not enough, it doesn't work. But the main thing at play is these characters doing stupid things with otherworldly beings. If you're someone like me who loves every so often to go into that old school Japanese aesthetic and, you know, just kind of live in that sort of world, it's kind of the same thing like Morose Mononokean or Holic or something like that, where it's modern day, but it's also kind of not, you know, so it's not a period piece kind of thing, but it's, these people are in a different world space. They exist differently. It's a bit off kilter from everything else. But the way it's presented, it's meant to be a jokey comedy. It's meant to be maybe not the Iyashike. What was that term? Iyashike, but the healing anime thing, but it's close enough. So if you want something that's slow, fun, pleasant, and that is a word I've used a lot, is pleasant, that would probably be the best term I would use for this, because nothing feels substantial, but nothing feels unearned either. That's why I keep coming back to it. If it was any worse, I probably wouldn't like it as much, but it's just good. It feels good. It's a show that makes me feel good for having watched it. So would I recommend Konohana Kitan? Absolutely. Not to reinvent the wheel, but to give you something for 12 episodes that gets you enough of something that seems familiar, but done in a unique twist that makes you happy. Because it's not trying to make you angry, it's not trying to make you jealous, it's not trying to piss you off, it's not trying to make you, you know, because if you want shows that are darker and disturbing, we have those. This is not one of them. This is, I want to have fun for a little while. Let me have some fun. Because this is a show about taking a vacation to a nice place. And if you're not feeling good after it, they haven't done their job. So that's the kind of show they're going for. But that will do for today. And let me see what we've got coming next time, because I've got a list here. Hooray! I'm totally prepped. Except when I press buttons and things go big on me. Anyway, let's see. So Konohana Kitan. Next week we've got the second episode of Bloodstained. So the Curse of the Moon and the 2D classic style stuff. Speaking of comedies, Konosuba season 3. Oh dear, that was nice. Metal Gear Solid 3, Odd Taxi, Xenosaga 2, which I'm currently finishing up Xenosaga 3, so I've got a good basis for talking about 2. October 5th, I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to do this in a list format rather than a ranking system, is my favorite ever anime openings and ending themes, and, you know, maybe the visuals too, but mostly just the songs. Anything that I remember and go back to over and over and over again, because I love listening to those. God, it will be so hard trying to rank them. I swear to God, I will have to. I'll have to look at a show and be like, do I remember this song? Do I like this song? Yes, it's on the list. Speaking of stuff, October 12th is Final Fantasy Glitches and Translation Errors. Speaking of listing a bunch of stuff, really old school Final Fantasy games had a lot of fucking translation errors and glitches and shit. That should be fun. And then after that, we'll be going into the Halloween season a bit, and I'm going to do anime. First one's going to be Sankarea, and it kind of fits. It's a comedy about a zombie girl. Yeah, that kind of fits the Halloween vibe a little bit. But that's the setup for the next couple of months. But I will call it an episode here, and I'll see you guys next time. Citizen Strife, signing off.